This video will contain spoilers. A Real Pain, universally positive ratings, directed by Jesse Eisenberg. I watched it in cinema, starring Kieran Culkin, Jesse Eisenberg. That was Bill Sharp? He's English? Huh. um, I'd seen the poster for this very, very long time ago. And there was always something about it that it seemed like it was cancelled or something like that. I don't know why I got that feeling, but I heard that it was released in, I think it's been, yeah, it says 2024, so I assume it's been released in America for a while now. That's just going to give me the UK release date. As for what I think is Jesse Eisenberg's directorial debut, his cinematography is great, but the choice of music was a bit shit. Um, there was a scene, I can't remember what scene it was, but they played a particular song that it's like, I mean, I get that it's supposed to be like sort of the default classical music because it is the best, but it's still. I'll play it, then I'll explain. Okay, I'll admit I couldn't find it, but you definitely have heard it before. Even if you don't really give a fuck about classical music, you've either seen it like on TikToks and memes and shit, or I don't even know where else. But it's just, I get that the score is classical music, but if it were me, I would have picked something that wasn't as generic. And I get that, that it's not. I mean, I'm not a fan of classical music, but I wouldn't call the song bad. It's just that because it is one of the most iconic pieces of classical music, and it's been out for centuries, it has become generic. So I wouldn't ever use it in a song. um, but he did during a particular scene. I can't remember what scene it was, but that's all I have to say about Jesse Eisenberg's directing. As for the acting, the two of them are amazing. Although I feel like Kieran's character is at times a little too similar to Roman from Succession. Like, if they could just dial it back a bit, um, not have him be as crazy as he is, and I do get that there was a whole point to it because he tried to kill himself only 6 months before the events of the film. So I do get that, but it's just I don't want to see him be typecast, is what I'm trying to say. I think I have a lot to say about the film. Sorry, I should actually say, overall, there are quite a few dramedies that will be funny at the. It'll be fucking hilarious at the start, but then, like maybe half an hour in, the funny just stops and it's 100% drama. I hate that. Like that eighth grade, that film Bo Burnham directed, did it. Sex Education did it. Like, if you want to do a good balance, Shameless, particularly the American Shameless, has an almost perfect balance of drama and comedy. And this did the balance quite well. You had funny, it was like funny, then it was sad, then it was funny, then it was sad, then it was funny, then it was sad, and so on and so on. And it did it well, and it didn't do it sort of disrespectfully. It wasn't like, you'll have a scene where Jesse is bawling his eyes out talking about all this tragedy, and then Kieran will do something silly. It's not like that. The pacing of it is well timed. It's not disrespectful. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Mixed ratings. I watched it on Netflix. Jim Carrey, Sean Young, Courtney Cox. Mark Margolis. Hold on. Sorry about that. Out of the Jim Carrey films that I've seen, I'm gonna be honest, this is one of the lower ones, but that's not to say that it's bad. It's just that he's done so many good ones. I'm gonna look to see his IMDb page and I'll go through all the ones that I've seen. Right, obviously, Sonic 3, Sonic 2, Sonic 1. I've seen the first episode of Kidding, which I couldn't get into that. Kick-Ass 2, but I wouldn't really consider that a Jim Carrey movie. I've seen the episode of The Office he was in and the episode of 30 Rock that he was in, but wouldn't really consider them either. Not just the fact that they're shows, but also just it was more like a cameo than anything else. The Truman Show, although I would consider that more of a drama. I get that there's some comedy to it, and I do find the comedy in it funny, but and Jim Carrey's casting in it was great, but I still wouldn't really consider it a Jim Carrey movie, so that just leaves Sonic 3, Sonic 2, Sonic 1, Liar Liar, this, and that's it, actually. Like, Liar Liar and Sonic in particular are just... this was great, but it's just not as good. I'm trying to think if there's anything I can say as to a particular reason, but I do have something I can say. Before I watched any of these, I sort of had this perception of Jim Carrey that he just overacts things, and that's where the comedy comes from. And it didn't seem like the kind of thing I would be into, but then I watched Liar Liar, and I realized, oh, actually that was pretty funny. But there were some parts of this film where he was just overacting, and I watched this with Bin Man and Dylan, and they found it funny. I didn't. So it wasn't as funny as... I don't even know what I'm trying to say there. But you get the point. It's just there were some things I didn't find funny because the parts that were like especially overacted just weren't that funny, but the ones that were just somewhat overacted were funny. And I think that's what the key is, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that's all to say about this. Although it's just two wee minor things. One, it's weird seeing Sean Young in a comedy. I bet she's done plenty of them, but it's just the only thing that I've seen her in is Blade Runner. And the only other thing I know of is that she wanted to play Catwoman in Batman. And so it just, her being in a comedy, it felt like... I hate to say this because I hate it when other people say it, but it just kind of feels like she only did it because she wanted the money or something like that. And it's not to say that she's like broke or anything like that, but it was just weird. And then Courtney Cox, it was weird seeing her in something before Friends, especially something... excuse my stomach, especially something as big as this.